Well, the firmly AEW Forbidden Door
That's right.
has been opened, and look at who is to my left on screen, but right in person.
That's right. Look who just busted through the Forbidden Door. JPJ's on vacation. He's going to Toronto for Money in the Bank. So I am filling in because I have a random Thursday off.
It's nice to have random days off, doesn't it?
I mean, it is the 4th of July, technically, but it was nice that they gave us the day off in my position. So I said I'd gladly step in and take over for JPJ.
And technically, this is not your first time.
No, this is not.
This before.
Yeah, it's been a while, though. I haven't got the call in a long time. But yeah, it's been a long time. Back when I did it the first time, it was the brick or the MJF scarf. You guys got new digs now.
Yeah.
New intro music, new look, new vibe.
Zach, the lovely Zach, put all that together for us. He's so wonderful.
Yeah, Zach's pretty cool.
Yeah. So, unfortunately, like I said on Twitter, we don't have Sue to play us out. But
I can push that button anytime I want, buddy. It's right here. I mean, we can watch this.
Hey there, Pluggo and JPJ. It's Trent's mom, Sue.
At a push of a button, Drew. I could do whatever I want. Yeah. I'm at the controls of this thing. We could be magically whisked away to any show on the Love Wrestling Network that we want.
We could become for exposure.
We could. JPJ, I know he likes to run a very tight ship, but he's not here. He can't yell at us.
He's not. That's right. And maybe he'll show up in the chat, but
maybe.
He said he would, but I mean, he's going to be driving and he's going to be with people. So, hope JPJ is doing well, and everybody at Love Wrestling who's attending Money in the Bank this weekend and Heat Wave on Sunday as well.
Yeah.
We have
some going to the GCW show, and then some are going to go to IWA. Love Wrestling will have you covered this weekend. No matter what wrestling you like, we'll have somebody there. That's pretty cool.
Exactly. It's going to be a big weekend for Love Wrestling.
Yeah.
So we had on Sunday a very, very, very great pay-per-view, Forbidden Door.
Yeah.
I was there.
I was going to say, I saw you there, yeah.
It was every single match. So I didn't realize this until like the day of. Every single match had somebody that I'd never seen live in person before.
Oh, that's always good. See somebody new.
It was really awesome. Like every single match. I'd never seen Will Ospreay before. I'd never seen Naito before. I'd never seen Mina Shirakawa before. I'd never seen Mercedes Moné or Sasha Banks in WWE. I'd never seen her, even though I'd been to a couple of WWE shows. She was not in WWE in the shows that I've been at. Just so many people. So it was really awesome to see all of these people for the first time, and with specifically Will Ospreay and Mercedes Moné, people I'm going to be able to see more as they come to around this area.
Yeah.
Or if I decide to, finally travel to something one day. We'll see if that ever happens. But Forbidden Door was a really great pay-per-view, and it had that huge main event. I mean, Corbin and Ospreay was really a match where it could have gone any way.
Yeah, I was on the seat of my pants the whole time.
Yeah, it was so amazing, and I feel like there's got to be some sort of, because they kind of did this on Dynamite last night. There's got to be some sort of Don Callis big heel moment with Ospreay coming soon.
Yeah, they teased it. They did when he said, "You'll owe me a favor." I was like, "Oh boy."
Yeah.
But speaking of heel moves, we got Scott in the chat saying, "Good morning, gentlemen. Thunder Rosa is still a bully." Scott, we love you, but I have to disagree.
I don't know what she's a bully about, but
apparently in Mission Pro, she's not very nice to the current Mission Pro champion, but that's okay. Thunder Rosa could slap my mama and I'd still love her. I'd be like, "What'd you do to deserve it, Mom?"
Wow. That's
And he says, "Happy 4th of July to all that celebrate." Yes.
happy 4th to the Americans who celebrate independence, but some Americans want us to go back to the 1700s. But yeah, let's not have that happen in November. So anyway,
Fun fact, both candidates were born in the 1700s.
Yeah. Judging from the debate that just happened.
But anyway, we're not here to get political.
Anyway,
we're here to
not
talk
here for
about
that.
Forbidden Doors.
We're here for Forbidden Door and Dynamite, mostly Dynamite. But I just wanted to mention, because I was at Forbidden Door, how really awesome it was. I can say, just like it wasn't in the same arena. That was Grand Slam, where we were the first real crowd to boo Cody relentlessly, and then every crowd afterwards booed
Yeah.
Cody, to the point that he took his ball and went to WWE, and good for him, because he deserved it. He deserved WrestleMania and all that stuff. We booed Mercedes Moné for the first time, and look at what happened.
You guys not only booed her, you also trashed the Celtics and Red Sox in the process.
Well, okay. The sports stuff I don't participate in. That just does nothing for me. But I mean, listen, I know
it was funny to me because I'm sitting there going, JPJ's just taking strays tonight.
Yeah, that's the thing. JPJ, I love JPJ. You love JPJ,
Yeah.
but you know how passionate he is about sports. I just know on the inside, it was getting to him a little bit. It was, because that's what happens.
I was watching it with him. We were watching it in a Discord with each other, and he was like, "What the." We can't curse yet, but he was like, "What? This is ridiculous." These lowbrow New York fans. That's what he is. So, but that match, I saw the discourse throughout the internet from Mercedes and Stephanie Vercor. I actually thought that match was really good. I know Mercedes Moné could cure cancer, and there's a set of people that wouldn't care less and would still hate her. But I really enjoyed that match. I like Stephanie Vercor a lot. I thought she looked great. So sign me up for more of that.
The past couple of weeks, she's been getting very much over with the AEW crowd.
Yeah.
I could see some positive things for her there.
Yeah, that's what I was like. That's somebody I'd like to see more of. So I'd like to see her do some more in AEW if possible.
Who else I got to see live for the first time ever was Zack Sabre Jr.
Ooh.
Yes, Zack Sabre Jr. and Orange Cassidy. And surprisingly, I thought Orange Cassidy was going to win. But Zack Sabre Jr. ended up winning, and he ended up being only one of two New Japan people to pick up a victory at Forbidden Door. The other one being Naito versus Moxley.
Which I think were the two that everybody kind of had picked out. I had picked Zack Sabre Jr. and I'd picked Naito because it just it was the easiest way to do it, because Orange Cassidy is bulletproof in AEW, and I think Orange Cassidy having a banger of a match with the Zack Sabre Jr. for the crowd that maybe is anti-Orange Cassidy is a bigger win than him just winning.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Hopefully that match silenced some of the doubters, but
it didn't. But at least in my neck of the woods, every time I post, especially over on my Facebook, if I post anything positive about an Orange Cassidy match, it's like the most commented post usually, because people are just like, nope, he puts his hands in his pockets.
How dare somebody do that?
Yeah, how dare somebody put their hands in the pockets that are readily available to them? But no, that match ruled. I that finish, whatever they called it. I'm not smart with technical terms, but I'm just gonna say he looked like a pretzel. Just absolutely tore him apart. Boom. We got Scott George say he's with JPJ on the sports teams, at least two of those. And then we got Asian Joe in the house from the Mark Order Pod saying doubters gonna doubt. But F them. I agree. And you know what? Speaking of doubters, Asian Joe, your co-host last night, he was on one. It's not very nice of him to talk about your bullpen arm like that. You know what I'm saying? But we love Asian Joe. Go check out our friends over at the Mark Order Pod. They rule.
The other ones that I wanted to mention quickly, of course, the AEW Women's World Championship match was incredible. Timeless Toni Storm defeated Mina Shirakawa. And and they all celebrated with each other at the end.
Yeah,
So,
I didn't see that coming.
what a way to close out Pride Month.
Oh yeah, you're talking about the kiss. I'm talking about them getting along. But yeah, they triple kissed, and of course, it's those moments where I have to go, "Honey, I swear, this is professional wrestling." It was a thirsty week in professional wrestling. I know this is an AEW podcast, but Dirty Dom and Liv were getting busy on Raw. Wrestling's getting thirsty, man.
It is, but I don't hate it. It's
right.
It's nice.
It's something different. But yeah, I like that. Mina's another one that I'd love to see get some more. I would like to see that continue in some facet because I really enjoyed the story that they told with those three leading up to the match. So they're getting along now, but I would like to see if maybe they could further that. Maybe Mina can get, I don't know her stardom deal, but I'd like to see her in AEW full time.
She, that whole feud, JPJ and I were very high on because it was one of the best booked things for Forbidden Door, honestly. Spencer Love is in the chat. Hello, sir.
Good morning, friends. Good morning, Spencer. How are you, buddy? I know you're on your way to Toronto as well, if I'm not mistaken. And he had a big weekend. He just he uploaded a bunch of stuff for LPW, the wrestling side of things. So if you go to this very channel after we're done, there's plenty of matches from LPW 27 up. I just watched the LPW/Clandestine Wrestling Society show, LPW C15, over on IWTV. I always butcher these things. Unfortunately, he's not going to make it out to Toronto. I'm sorry, bud, but he'll be watching Money in the Bank, I'm assuming. He was on with SP3 and Maggie on True Heel Heat, doing the damn thing, predicting that thing. So go check that out, too. Spencer Love's a busy man.
Yes, he is. And a wonderful man. And a great-looking
man.
Pull up that picture again.
Oh,
that's a great picture.
I know. He's usually behind the LPW logo.
So stoic in that picture. Yeah. I love it.
He's like, I'll be your friend, but I'll also fire you.
So that's what the budget.
Exactly. What other match? Okay, so you told me that was the first time you got to see Will Ospreay live, and we kind of glossed over that. What was that like for you? Because I've gotten to see Will Ospreay live now twice, and it's blows me away every time.
So yeah, JPJ and I don't believe JPJ saw Will Ospreay's talk, I think, in the promo. I don't know if he saw him wrestle. I don't remember if he said that. But yeah, I was just absolutely blown away. He is everything that. So for those, I think I know I've mentioned this on the show before, but from 2012, I came back to wrestling after a very long period of time off, maybe like 12 years almost. And WWE, of course, was what I was watching. And that was the only thing that I knew. I had only seen WWE from SmackDown, Raw, all the pay-per-views, whatever. But in 2016, rumblings on the interwebs were talking about a match between Ricochet and Will Ospreay. And I had never heard... I had heard of Ricochet, but I hadn't heard of Will Ospreay. And it was the Best of Super Juniors match that they had. And I was like, you know what? I saw some like a clip or two about it, crazy off the ropes that they do and flip into the Spider-Man pose. And I was like, oh, wow. Okay, let me look at this.
Yeah.
And I watched that match. And that was the first match I ever watched outside of WWE. And I was enthralled.
Hells yeah. Yeah, he's good. It was a good one.
That year, I opened my wrestling viewing to TNA. When I saw for also those that don't know, and I know I've mentioned this on the podcast, I used to go by Big Money Drew. Big Money was from Big Money Matt in TNA in 2016. So that was, I stole that from Matt Hardy. And I remember Dummy, the Eli Drake now LA Knight in WWE. That whole era of TNA, I really enjoyed actually. And I stopped watching TNA after a little bit, but yeah, so it's been on my bucket list to see Will Ospreay live, and then when I found out that he was coming to AEW, it was like, well,
Gotta get there. You know,
it's happening. It's
Hell
happening.
yeah.
I'm going to see this guy, and then it finally happened. And honestly, he is everything that I love about professional wrestling.
yeah,
He's a great
super good.
talker,
Mhm.
and a lot of people were surprised about that. I remember JPJ said, like, he's been a great wrestler, but I had no idea that he was as great of a talker as he is. And he's a great talker. He's a great performer and athletic and just a great. The story came out by Fightful the other day that he wanted that match at Forbidden Door because he wanted to elevate Swerve, and he didn't want people to think that Swerve was a placeholder for him for All In Wembley, and that's the type of guy that you want in your company.
Yeah, that's a guy you want on your roster for sure that's willing to do that. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
And to top it off, the match was fantastic, but we got, poor Spenny said his dog sitter bailed. Spenny, if you want to drive down to Indiana, drop your dog off, and swing up to Toronto, I will watch your dog. Mrs. Pluggo agreed.
Oh, nice.
Asian Joe goes, why does Spencer look like he's a member of Imperium? And Spencer says, well, how do you know I'm not? And then Bobby's in the house saying, hello, guys. Hello, Bobby. But that match was awesome. Ospreay is fantastic. Swerve is fantastic. They told a beautiful story, in my opinion. It was slow at times. It was fast at times. It was all over the place. Yeah, Don Callis try to get involved. Screwdriver. Ospreay almost used a screwdriver, but he did not.
And maybe if he did, he would have won. But
and that's the story that they've told this week twice now, is that maybe if you would have cheated and taken the diamond ring for Garcia or taken the screwdriver for Ospreay, you might be a champion right now. But you're hesitating, which I kind of like. I kind of like that little wrinkle of like good versus evil in your conscience type deal. Yeah. So that was
when we get to the main event of Dynamite, I saw a lot of people shitting on that. We can curse now. It's after it's minutes. Because I'm gonna need it because I'm gonna start cursing soon.
That's fair. It's your show. I'm just hanging out. You do whatever you want.
Well, I have to abide by those rules as well. No demonetization here. So
hey, we've survived. I checked today when I set the link for Firmly on the YouTube studios, and we haven't been demonetized on beards in a while, and we've had some wild ones over the last month. So
yeah,
you're good. You're good.
So Kyle Fletcher defeated Serpentico. That was a fun match.
Yep.
House of Black defeated Private Party, Kyle O'Reilly, and Ishii, and Roderick Strong and Gabe Kidd. And so Gabe Kidd is another guy who I really just kind of found out about within a year. And I'm obsessed with him. He is a real trash talker. Like, I absolutely love watching every single thing that he is in, because even in his matches, he's trash talking just as good as Roman Reigns was during the Thunderdome era. Just absolute trash talking douchebag with this hint of arrogance that even I aspire to. Yeah, I wish I was a little arrogant like that. Just wonderful. So I really like that match. MJF defeated Hechicero. Hechicero is such a vibe, honestly. Like, I had never seen him live before, and just his music and the way that he comes out, and it's just so good. I really like it a lot. And that was actually that match was faster than I thought it was going to be. I think it was faster. It was a quicker match than both women's matches.
Yeah, I was gonna say it felt right around 10 minutes. He got in, he did the crowd surfing, big pop, match was done, it was over, he was out the door. So that was my only thing. I was like, man, it was a really short match. It was a good match though, but it was very short. Very short.
Yeah. And it made me a fan of Hechicero, for sure.
So there you go.
Um,
It's the win-win right there.
Mariah May defeated Saraya. That was a cute little match.
Oh, look at this.
Mr.
Hello from the
look at
road.
that.
JPJ and I are on the 401 to Toronto. Look at that.
We say
Zach,
that. Get
what's
your
up?
destination safely.
Yeah, get to your destination safely. JPJ, I wonder what kind of drive. JPJ strikes me as a road rage type guy. Like, get out of my way. Why are you in the right lane? You should be in the left. This is the fast lane. Get out of the way. I see it because I'm that way.
That makes sense.
He's
If you think about it, that makes sense.
Well, we don't use turn signals in Canada. What the?
Maybe Zach can let us know if we're right.
Zach's like on the dash code. Slow down, JPJ. Slow down. Oh my god. He's like
Talking about you, JPJ. Slow down. Slow down.
No, he can hear us because he's with him.
Well, hi, JPJ.
Yeah, they're heading up to Toronto for Money in the Bank, and they're going to be doing some media, if I'm not mistaken.
Bobby, I hope we see more of Gabe Kidd and JPJ and in AEW. Absolutely. JPJ is nodding with Pluggo. I'm endorsing his skills. Listen, I'll be taking a little bit of a trip probably this weekend. I can be a little bit like that sometimes.
Yeah. What's going on here?
I'm a nicer New York driver though. I don't use my horn as liberally as everybody else does here. You know. Uh-oh. Wait a minute. Uh-oh.
Talking shit?
Yeah. No. I'm just saying. I think you're the type of driver that doesn't put up with any nonsense on the road.
Like this guy in front of me in the fast lane who's making me my friends.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
I'm a viral superstar now. I don't got time for nonsense. All right? No,
Yeah, you are viral superstar.
Huh? I said thanks for filling in for me. I'm gonna look on the road now, but thanks for filling in.
No problem. Have fun, you two. Behave.
What a week I had to miss with that Dynamite and Forbidden Door. I don't get to talk about it. It's a great time.
Yeah, we don't get to talk about it on beers because we already pre-recorded. So it's like, oh man, what a night! What a way to miss. Turn around and come back.
You know, maybe.
Hi, Zach.
Hello. I'm going to try not to pull a Spencer and leave without deactivating the stream.
Okay. Please. You know what? If you want to just turn the camera off and mute, that's fine. Just in case. Just stay there. Just in case.
We'll just remove him. There we go.
There we go.
Well, there's a cameo from JPJ, and he did confirm that he is a driver that puts up with no nonsense on the road. So
we knew that though. We knew that.
I like how he's like, you talking shit? No, I'm just speaking truth. Talking shit would be saying things that aren't true. If anything, I was spot on accurate. But yes, I thought 0 Hour. This was the best 0 Hour in a long time. There was 4 great matches. It was boom, boom, boom. It was an hour and a half or so. It went by really fast. So very cool.
I haven't seen it on TV. I didn't order it and see it on TV.
You were there.
I saw it in person. So I don't buy the things I'm there for already. I bought a ticket and it was more than the pay-per-view. So
right.
You know, I'm not gonna then also buy the pay-per-view and watch it on, you know, that's just but yeah, but the other big thing to come out of that was the ladder match for the TNT Championship.
Yeah.
We saw a couple of people that I hadn't seen in person before in this match. Leo Rush, El Fantasmo, and then we had Jack Perry, we had Takeshita, we had Mark Briscoe and Dante Martin, and man, there were some spots with those ladders that were real gnarly.
Yeah. I don't know if you could see from where you were sitting, but some of those ladders got mangled.
Yeah.
Like I haven't seen ladders get that folded up in a long time.
And then that specific spot with Takeshita and Phantasmo that went through those 2 tables, and those tables
exploded. Yes. It was
incredible. That's how a table should break.
They both just were like
yeah.
Epic.
It was good. As JPJ and I had predicted, and as pretty much everybody predicted, Jack Perry is the TNT champion. we didn't see Jack Perry. Oh no, but they had a little like video package for him on Dynamite, but he wasn't in the building.
He was there.
I'm sorry. That's right. He was there.
They held up all the gold together
Yes,
after
right.
he came out and attacked Briscoe.
Yes, that's right.
But he was that was all that he was there. He wasn't there for much. He had a very light day.
Right. Yeah. When they and you know what? I gotta thank the Chicago crowd. No CM Punk chants.
Yeah.
I like that. I like not hearing CM Punk chants because
if you're an AEW fan and you're chanting CM Punk, I just kind of understand. I don't understand why. If there's no context for it, because it's time to move on.
It doesn't happen as often as everybody, I'll say, wished that it happened, because I know a lot of people wished that every single time the Elite were on TV, they were going to relentlessly chant CM Punk at them. And it hasn't happened, so that's nice. Once in a while, a little cluster of fans will break out with a CM Punk chant. But when that happens, the other side boo them. And that's actually, I like hearing that. It's like people are like, come on, what are we doing? Why are we chanting CM Punk?
Mark Briscoe could be Jack Perry's first TNT championship opponent. It'd be something.
It could be, because as we saw on Dynamite, Mark Briscoe entered himself into Blood and Guts. So, for
Team AEW. Still running with that. But yeah, the ladder match was cool. I thought it was a foregone conclusion for me that Jack Perry was going to win the thing, and I'm glad he did. So, heck yeah.
Yeah, it was. I was when they did that segment a couple of weeks ago where they were like, "Hey, TNT Championship's vacant. Here you go, Jack Perry." They're just going to hand him the title. Right. I was for that. I was like, you know what? Sure, do it. It makes sense with the Elite's, personas, their characters right now. It's just like,
right.
This is their guy. This title's vacant. Nobody's holding it. Here you go. I was really for that segment. But yeah, so Dynamite happened last night.
Yeah.
And it was a doozy.
Oh my gosh, was it good? Jesus.
It started out with probably the match of, I'll say it started and ended with two phenomenal matches. Daniel Garcia and Ospreay were the main event, but we started with Bryan Danielson and Pac for the Owen Hart tournament bracket.
Yeah, to get to
final? And
to get to the final, because we're getting Jay White and Page on Rampage or Collision this week.
I believe Collision.
Collision to go to the finals. So yeah, what a match! They gave him like 20-25 minutes. They just they beat the piss out of each other.
It was marvelous.
I didn't want either one of them to lose, man. Put them both in the final. Make it a 3-way. I don't care.
Yeah. I know the show didn't technically start with this, but I want to put all that stuff together. The main event stuff. So, but yeah, like these two together, I think they have wrestled before. I'm pretty sure.
When I was watching Forbidden Door, we were talking about it. Pac and Danielson have not wrestled since 2009, and it was some indie thing or something. I can't quite remember what we had talked about, but yeah, they never touched it. They never wrestled in WWE. They haven't mixed it up in AEW yet to that point. So
yeah,
essentially we could have called it the first time, but it was pretty close.
Their styles mesh beautifully. And when and Danielson, of course, was at Forbidden Door as well, wrestling Shingo, and he's been doing this now ever since he came back from retirement. But he does the overselling of something near his neck that makes you go, oh god, is this
every time?
It's hard. I fall for it every single time.
Mm-hmm.
It's so annoying, but I love him so much, so I can't be mad. can't be mad at him.
No, not at all.
Um,
Is this the hardest road in the Owen? He had to take out Shingo and Pac to get to the finals. And if my memory serves me, he'll have to take out probably Hangman Page, I would assume.
I'm thinking it's going to be Hangman Page as well.
Like, talk about a road to the Owen Cup. My goodness.
Who last time they faced had a 60.
Yeah.
Well, they had the 60-minute time limit draw,
Mhm.
and then they did another match where I believe Hangman won.
Yeah.
And that was the last time that we saw the two of them together. So when we get to Hangman, that's going to be another topic that I'm probably going to rant about, but in a good way, not in a bad way.
Oh, so we got good rants and bad rants today from Drew. I love it.
It's a good rant about a bad topic.
Hells yeah, I'm in.
Because people, they like formulating their own opinions, and then their own opinions are the only things that they want to happen.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll get there when we get there. Yeah, so Danielson wins, and then we get Renee backstage interviewing Willow Nightingale, and she is just like the perfect person. She really is.
Yeah, I love Willow. She's the best.
The way that she has been able to communicate so beautifully how relatable she is to every single person on planet Earth it should be studied, honestly, because this promo, I mean, she's done so many promos where she's talked about her smile anyway, nothing matters mantra about life. And it's just so true, isn't it? Like, day by day, life will knock you down, and in the end, nothing really matters. So just smile. It's a beautiful, it really is a beautiful message.
But I do love that she's giving you that message, but you can see in her matches that edge where she takes that, like, she gives a little slight edge to her where it's like, oh, she's ready to kill, which I love. Because that match with her and Stat rocked.
Yeah, it was really, really good. And just to summarize a bit, she said that was her mantra, and she lives by it. She has to look on the bright side in this world of pain and suffering. And while Chris Statlander and Stokely Hathaway mock her, they don't understand that it's for people who need it. For the little girl who wanted to be one of the best wrestlers in the world. And of course, she was talking about herself there.
Yeah.
And oh God, I can listen to her talk every single week. She is so good at it.
Mm-hmm.
Then we get to the moment that we just mentioned. Mark Briscoe is in the ring, and he said they call him Chicken, but he ain't scared of shit. They bleep shit, of course, but
which is weird because they didn't bleep it later on.
Yeah,
it got used again. So
that's right.
I don't know.
And he said Jack Perry must have ate an extra bowl of Lucky Charms and shoved a horseshoe up his ass to win the match. Oh God, I love him so much.
Scott, that's a great question. He says, "Where does that go from here?" Wrong decision. I will talk about it in the match, but I could see where that would make sense. Because I'm a big stat guy.
The scapegoat, as you reminded me, the scapegoat clocks him with the TNT title from behind, and then we get Kyle O'Reilly out, and then Okada comes out, who I also got to see for the first time at Forbidden Door.
Hell yeah!
Okada comes out, takes out Kyle O'Reilly, and then the Young Bucks come out and just wreck the two of those guys.
Mm-hmm.
And then the Acclaimed come to make the save. So we got so far 4 guys, the Elite, meaning Jack Perry, the Young Bucks and Okada on one
Mhm.
side. Then we've got 4 guys on the other side, which is the Acclaimed, Max and Anthony, Kyle O'Reilly, Mark Briscoe.
Right. But they've
So-
only announced Mark as the first entrant for Team AEW to this
Right.
point.
Well, we kind of figured out.
But
who
it
the other-
looks like the other 3 are set, but they still haven't put that out yet.
Right. So we are to assume for now.
Can I just
That-
be honest? If that's the best Team AEW you can come up with, is that a little? It feels a little lopsided. Not that I don't love Kyle O'Reilly and Mark Briscoe and the Acclaimed. It just feels a little lopsided. Just
I don't know what JPJ's thoughts would have been on this, but I feel like it might have been similar to yours and mine. Mark Briscoe did not need to be in that.
no.
I
He's
don't think
Ring of
that.
Honor World Champion. He should be on Ring of Honor doing Ring of Honor.
Well, I mean,
That's a whole other topic. For
yeah,
another day.
that's a common criticism about champions in Ring of Honor, except the women's champion. That's the only one that doesn't.
They got to
go anywhere
stay.
else.
They got to stay.
But yeah, Mark Briscoe hasn't had any issues per se with the Elite, so
Yeah.
for him to just be on Team AEW out of nowhere like that, it's like, oh, okay, I wasn't expecting that. My thing, and I've said this 100 times, and I'm going to continue saying it because I want it to happen really badly, is we got Blood and Guts in a couple weeks. I think it's 3 weeks from now. I want Max Caster to turn heel
Yeah.
and join the Elite, because I think that his every I said this like a week or 2 ago. I think every person in the Elite so far plays a certain douchebag role separately from each other that works really well. You know, you've got the cocky arrogance of the Elite, of the Young Bucks.
Yeah.
You've got the cocky businessman young guy in Jack Perry. Then you've got the cocky rich man in Okada, because he's the one with the cars and all the lavish stuff. But there's no like just cocky young boy douchebag. And I feel like that
Who
would be
rap?
the Max
They need
Caster.
a rapper.
They need the cocky rapper.
Yeah,
And-
put Caster in like a suit, have him come out, and then that way too, you could have somebody take a couple pins, take a couple pins here in these group settings, because we
Right.
always say like, oh, you can't pin so and so, you can't pin so and so. Caster would be perfect for that.
Yeah, because interestingly, and now I've seen other people say, "Oh, well, he's not joining them for Blood and Guts, but he might if Swerve is the 5th man for the Team AEW."
That's what Scott. That's what Scott here is saying. Swerve has to be in it. We'll see.
Right.
Will Mark Briscoe defend his Ring of Honor World Championship at Death Before Dishonor? He better.
I would imagine so.
He should.
But, I mean, they're so close to each other. I think Death Before Dishonor is like the end of July, when Blood and Guts is. as well.
Blood and Guts is the 24th, so that should be Friday the 26th. So
Yeah, that's just like I don't know, but so my thing is that Max Caster turns on the Acclaimed and Team AEW, and now that we know that Hangman isn't, for now at least, joining with the Elite on Team Elite for Blood and Guts, I wanted the original team of Team AEW to be Will Ospreay, Swerve, Kyle O'Reilly, and Anthony Bowens, and then it's gonna be Max Caster, but then Max Caster turncoats and goes to Team Elite, but they need a 5th man for Team AEW. Well, Ricochet is a free agent now.
yeah,
He's best buddies with Will Ospreay, and he's had a long history with Swerve from Lucha Underground.
There you go. That'd be a
And
hell of a first match, blood and guts.
and I was like, oh, what better way for Ricochet to show back who he really is than be in a big time match like Blood and Guts, where
Yeah.
he can be flying off the cage. He can be doing all of that stuff that I wouldn't say that he was necessarily limited by in WWE, but the last year, I want to say, was really just him kind of floundering around for the most part.
Yeah.
Not really in high profile stuff like he deserved to be. But what a way to debut him in AEW.
Yeah, no, for sure. Because he would be, like you said, it'd be a coming out party. Remember all this cool stuff I can do? Oh, yeah. So that would be an interesting move. What if Ricochet joins the Elite? Ooh.
That's the other thing. People say, oh, he should be a heel. And that would be cool. I'm not going to lie, to see him as a heel.
Right. Ooh.
But we'll see. We'll see what happens there.
But so you're calling he'll be a part of Blood and Guts?
I think he will be, but well, I thought he was before Mark Briscoe was announced, because I really had a dead set that everybody who had been feuding with the Elite up until Forbidden Door was just going to obviously be in Blood and Guts. So it was going to be Swerve. It's going to be Will Ospreay. It's going to be the Acclaimed. Then they need that one extra person, So
Yeah.
we'll see what happens there. Probably it's not going to end up happening. It's just based on it. I saw Max turning on Anthony for the past few weeks now, based off of what they were doing. Like they had that match again, the Eliminator match that they had a couple weeks ago. They had really the last 7-8 minutes. They had Anthony in the ring the entire time, and they're beating up Anthony, and Max was nowhere to be found. Like he would try and do a spot, and then they take him out, but then you wouldn't see him again for minutes.
Yeah.
It was always Anthony, and they were selling his, I think it was a leg, and really taking his leg out, and they were super baby facing it up with him, honestly. And I was like, oh, it's got to be. Oh, that's interesting.
Dijak? Maybe one gets Dijak, one gets Ricochet. That's how you debut both of them.
Interesting. But yeah, so I know that's probably not going to end up happening. That's just my fantasy booking that I really wanted to happen.
It might. You never know. You never know. You're going to be seeing it now. You're going to be like, man, I called it when you're on this. When you're on this podcast in a few weeks after Blood and Guts and he turns on them, you're going to be like, oh, shit, JPJ. I called it.
Yeah. We'll see. We'll see if it happens.
You never know.
So Chris Statlander and Willow Nightingale, they had their match, and that was real good. Real good match. Willow Nightingale wins as so you're thinking similarly with Scott that was the wrong result?
I don't know if it was the wrong result. I love both of the people in the match. I'm always big when you turn somebody heel, like a Statlander, and you're trying to build her into this heel, and then you take the legs out from under her for a loss real quick like that. So she did try to cheat to win, so it was kind of protected. So I'm not overly upset about it, but I would have been okay with Stat winning here.
Yeah, I mean, I would have too.
Stopping Willow from the opportunity. Hell, I thought they should have been in the final. This should have been the finals. I don't have Willow and Stat. Willow going back to back, and then Statlander's the one that stops her or something like that.
Yeah, I did find it strange that they were in the same bracket. I thought they were going to be on opposing sides, so this way they would meet at the final. But hey, it happened now.
What up,
hey,
Lawrence? What's up,
I thought Lawrence was going to be in that car with.
Maybe they're on their way to pick him up. I don't know. I don't know what's going on. I don't know who's there and who's not now. I know Lawrence has probably got IWS on his mind this weekend. But yeah, I don't know. Like I said, I love what they're doing with Statlander. She's been killing it, so I would have loved to have kept it going. And again, wins and losses in these spots shouldn't make a huge difference if you do the story right. I just like the idea of keeping her hot. Oh, he's on the train right now on his way.
Oh, cool. Yeah, I mean, I can understand also having Statlander win. But I am fine with the way that it happened because, like you said, she was going to cheat to win. Willow ducked it. Stokely got in the way a little bit, and that caused Willow to take advantage of that and win. So I like when, it wasn't just a completely clean victory. Right. It was like taking advantage of the cheating that was supposed to happen. Which we saw in the main event as well. We'll talk about that soon.
If you ain't cheating, you ain't trying.
Well, a very famous wrestler did say that once. But yeah, so Willow wins, and I did enjoy the match. I thought this was, as Willow is a former Owen Hart Cup winner. I think she was the last one.
Yeah, she won last year. She's going for 2 straight.
So I think it makes sense for her to continue on, especially since the winner of the men's isn't around.
Right.
And nor was he in the tournament. So yeah. So I'm fine with Willow's place.
I don't understand that. Ricky Starks deserves better.
Yeah. Next, we have probably one of the best things that happened on the show that wasn't a match.
Yeah.
Tony Schiavone is in the ring, and he reintroduces someone who's been out for a long time, Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, who made her triumphant return to a loud pop.
And they hugged, and I got misty-eyed, and it's like, oh, she's back. They're together. Yay.
She took Mercedes' spotlight at Forbidden Door. So Mercedes returned the favor last night in a big way.
Yeah.
So Britt said that she wanted to talk about 3 things that we all have: the past, the present, and the future. The past is a lesson, the present is a gift, and the future is a motivation. This was as motivating. This was like as good as Willow's promo earlier today of like motivational speaking.
Very positive energy tonight. Last night.
So starting with the past, people were wondering where she was for the last 10 months. She was out, and she did get injured, but it wasn't just that. She had a couple of herniated discs and a torn hip labrum. And she kept saying, as long as I look in the mirror, I know I'm good. One day she wasn't, though, because she started feeling really sick. And this was around late November, I think she said, early January, in that range. And her vision got blurry and the room was spinning. And her right side didn't work at all. So she had to go to the doctor. She ended up spending a week in the hospital with a transient ischemic attack, which I had never heard of before.
Right. I think she ends up describing it as like a mini stroke type
like
deal.
An instance where your brain isn't getting enough blood, and it is a warning sign for a stroke as well. So she said to Tony Khan, I need to stay home and get right. And Tony Khan agreed and obliged. And when she was good, she could be back. And now to the present, she is cleared and she's healthy, which is wonderful. And at Forbidden Door, she didn't know if people were going to care about her again.
Which was the craziest thing she said, that whole thing, because I popped so hard
everybody
when her music
been
hit.
waiting for it. And I mean, man, that was a total surprise. Like when her music hit, I was like, "Who's this?" And then I could see on the Tron the teeth, and I was like, "Oh my god, it's Britt Baker! She's back!"
Hell yeah.
And man, that was an amazing pop. That was like the pop that I was in the building when Saraya debuted as well at Grand Slam, and that was a big pop for her. It was a little bit louder than that one, but because I think that it was more people in that place. But man, it is great to see her back, and what a promo this was. So she says she's cleared, she's healthy. She didn't know, she was vulnerable about Sunday. She didn't know if this line was like, oh my god, most relatable ever. When she came back, she didn't know if anyone would give a damn when she made her entrance, and the fear of rejection isn't rational, but vulnerability is showing up even when you have no control over what will happen. And just, oh my god, that's like what Willow was saying earlier about nothing matters, smile anyway. And then she gets into the future, the motivation, and she says, when you're going through a hard time, be present and go through it, because it will be better on the other side. Because we all possess the impulse to be elite.
Yeah.
And she hears that there's a new female face of AEW, Miss Mercedes Moné. And she goes on about how those 3 letters that everyone that gets piped in the beginning of her entrance music.
She called her out.
Oh, that's the Britt Baker we know and love.
I also loved when she was all like, yeah, she, that new face must have really, worked her way up, grinded, did all the, like, just taking digs at her the whole time. I was like, yeah, we're back, baby.
Yeah. And then we hear a horn honk. And I thought we were on The Price is Right for a second, but it was not The Price is Right. It turns out it was Mercedes Moné's SUV rolling up. She gets out of the SUV, and she's got both the New Japan Strong Women's Championship and the AEW TBS Championship, one on each shoulder. And she greets the Young Bucks outside.
Yeah, she does. That was cool.
Like, oh.
Yeah.
So immediately we're leaning into that. And you know what? I like it. That's good.
I love it.
So they tell her that her championship celebration is ready, and they motion for the crew members to get started and do all of the preparations for her to get in the ring. And Britt Baker's, standing in the ring, and all of a sudden, here come the balloons and everything, and she's just standing there like, I'm in the middle of my segment. Mercedes music hits. She just down.
Stood there, which I loved. I loved that little, like, she stood her ground. She didn't leave. She just hung out.
Yeah. And Mercedes gets right in the ring, and she stands in front of her and does the CEO dance and holding the titles. And then Mercedes gets a microphone. She says it's time for Chicago to celebrate with the double champion. And Britt interrupts her and says, okay, I outshined you, so now you're trying to outshine me. And Mercedes was like, oh, she's happy to talk about Forbidden Door, which she became a double champion. And she should have known that Britt would come out and steal the spotlight. But as she's saying that, Chicago is chanting, shut the fuck up. And Mercedes Moné. Like,
oh yeah.
Oh, it's beautiful, because she is kind of already playing a heel, pretty much.
Yeah, she's already kind of playing the heel, but she was getting cheered because she's Mercedes and people were into it. But after Forbidden Door with the chance, it's time to just lean all the way into it and give us that full-blown heel Mercedes that I think we're all looking for.
Yeah. And
it'll be interesting because Britt Baker as the face, she's a really good heel too. So
I
like the dynamic. And then Hab Guy said he's going to Toronto.
Oh, nice.
He's working. Everybody's heading up to Toronto.
Yeah, so Mercedes does this. She takes her hand and she just goes on Britt's face and shoves her. She's got a big ooh from the crowd. And you fucked up, Chance. And she says that there's a long line and Britt needs to get back to the back of the line, bitch. You know, bitch. Bitch was used very well in this promo.
What line, bitch?
What line, bitch?
What line, bitch? There ain't no line.
And then Mercedes gets out of the ring, and then that's all. But what? So
essentially, Britt challenged Mercedes to a match at All In, and of course,
right.
Mercedes was like, "Nah," but I think that's where it's going. It hasn't been made official, but that's absolutely the match that's going to happen. I thought every moment of this hit hard. Every segment from Britt's speech all the way through to the Mercedes stuff, I thought was well done. It was a great I'm so excited for this match. I think if they do this right, that match could go down as the biggest match in AEW women's history easily. Like, and I don't want to say that in a negative sense, like there's not a lot of great talented women, but they haven't had this type of firepower with two people since Thunder Rosa and Britt.
Yeah.
So it could be huge. Like it could be massive. You could main event this thing if you really wanted to at All In.
Yeah, you really could. And they could build. I mean, we have another a month now, almost 2 months to All In.
Exactly. So, if you build this up right and you let them cook and you give them time every week to keep adding layers to this story, we could be in for something special.
And the interesting thing too, I don't know if you remember this, but this match or this, these two were teased a long time ago when Mercedes originally left WWE and was starting to get into New Japan. There was a promo. I don't remember exactly what was said, but I remember there was a Britt Baker promo where she alluded to Mercedes, and everyone was like, "Oh shit, is this gonna happen?" Yeah. And this was before they were even in talks for her to come in. This was before All In last year, where she was shown. This was before that. So this has probably been a plan for a while. Yeah. And good, because it's going to be wonderful.
And now everybody's healthy. We're going to strike while the iron is hot. I'm here for it.
So this isn't what happened next, but again, I'm saving all of the stuff for the main event segment. Because we did that last week, and I liked that. So I think we should. I'm going to tell JPJ we should probably do that more. I like when you talk about like the storylines that intertwine throughout the show to the one big moment.
Yeah. Instead of going like we talked about Danny Garcia, then we talked about this, and we're going to talk about him again. You could just do it all in one shot. Yeah, that makes sense. You guys are figuring it out here on Firmly AW. I haven't quite figured out how to run a show yet.
Well, the beauty about beards is that it really can be anything, and you can talk about anything, because you're not just reviewing one thing, you're reviewing the week of wrestling.
Yeah, sometimes.
So, sometimes. Other times, you talk about how, somebody takes their sister's eye out. And,
dude,
all these crazy things.
Dude, that's what we should have done here. Is it should have just been shoot hard on JPJ because we're both his co-host. And he's like popping sister's eyeballs out. And he told some story on Thursday about another, like some kid getting stiff armed or something at a laser tag. Dudes be wilding out there. And he's a crazy, we love JPJ, but be careful. He'll get you.
Yeah. And now we know what his driving style is like. So
that's right.
Do not get in the car. Zach, I hope you're safe. Do not stand in front of his car. Do not stand around his car.
He's probably Zach pulled the car over right. We're pulling the car over right now. I got big star JPJ we might end up having to do shows together because he's going to leave us.
Oh yeah, apparently Joe Pearl called him a WWE superstar. So if he's a WWE superstar, that's going to clash with Firmly AEW.
I was going to say
he might have to join me every week now.
I might have to. Big star over there.
We had Chris Jericho. I
Hi guys.
So I want to know what is your opinion of the learning tree thus far as to now?
I hate it.
Okay.
I hate it. I hate it. But he's good at it. Don't get me wrong, but that's what he wants. He wants us to absolutely hate it. And I hate that he roped in Brian Keith to it because I love Brian Keith. I hate that he spit a fireball at Hook's face yesterday. It's annoying, and I'm saying I hate it because I don't love it, but that's why he's doing it, to get that reaction, so he must be doing something right?
Yes. He said, oh well, he's got to have his TV time.
Gotta have my TV time.
It's very meta, and I will say some weeks it hits, some weeks it misses.
Yeah, for sure. Like when Brian Keith goes, you better tell that baby to respect Chris Jericho. That's funny as hell.
That's funny.
But when Chris Jericho's explaining to people how to scoop corn, not for me.
I've genuinely loved all of Brian Keith's parts in this.
Yeah.
Because he makes me laugh and he gets this role perfectly. I didn't think I was going to enjoy it first, but you better respect Chris Jericho. That, just forcefully saying that to every single person, like cameramen and people in case, everywhere. I think it's great. Big Bill's part in it is 50-50 for me. I like his over happiness about just talking about Chris Jericho. But I feel like I don't really like his promo style very much. He sounds very much like he's reading from a cue card, every single time he talks. So that kind of lessens it for me a little bit. But yeah, sometimes Jericho's last week's segment, when he was it was him throughout the show, and when it was 2 weeks ago. Sorry, when he was peppered throughout the show before the private party match.
Yeah.
I genuinely liked that. I thought that was funny. It's here, I'm going to show you how to the cameraman how to do this, and it was funny. I enjoyed that. But yeah, talking about how to scoop corn and stuff. Come on, man. And I was on a watch along with the show, so I didn't really get to hear Chris Jericho's commentary. How was it?
It was I mean, it was Chris Jericho on commentary, ramped up for learning tree stuff, so it was mutable. But he kicks Taz out of the building.
Yeah, that was so screwed up.
He kicks Taz out of the building, and then they beat
the rest of the night, not even just for the one match.
They beat the Gates of Agony, and then the learning tree beats down Hook, Samoa Joe, and Shibata because Taz wasn't there to stop him. Which Taz doesn't really mix it up in the ring anyway, so I don't know why you needed to kick Taz out of the building unless it's just to add insult.
I really wish they could do one more match with him, but I know that he can't. It's
right.
So unfortunate, because every time Chris Jericho has screwed over Hook in some way, they always show Taz, and he's so mad. And it's I just want you to throw the headset off, get in there, and fucking
just rip
go after him.
Your singlet, ready to go. Yeah,
rip the shoot off, and he's got the singlet on underneath.
Yeah, dude.
I want it one more time, but I know it's not going to happen because his body is way too messed up and hasn't recovered the way that Edge's has, and the way that Mercedes did, and Saraya and stuff. So, unfortunately, he's not able to get back in the ring and wrestle.
Right.
But so Hook, Shibata, and Samoa Joe. This trio is really fun.
Yeah, they're super good. I like them. Give them the trios champs already. Let's go.
And they win, which, I mean, I was expecting them to, because not for nothing, I like Brian Cage and Bishop Khan and Toa Liona, but just, they're not a team that's there to be racking up wins.
Right, yeah, they're just the look imposing and have good matches and
Yeah,
take losses.
God Almighty, Bishop Khan is a beautiful man. But it's yeah. So they win, and then of course the beatdown happens. Bill, Brian, Keith attack them, and Bill puts Hook through. I think it was a table, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so it's like, okay, so that's continuing, which I had a feeling it was. So let me get to. We're gonna get to my first rant of the show, of people who want things one way and don't realize the actual story that's being told. Because it's hard for them to see the forest through the trees. So, Jeff Jarrett comes out, and who is the wild card?
Who could it be? Is it Ricochet?
Who?
Is it Marco Stunt?
I almost wish. I hope that Marco Stunt comes back in this company just for you. Honestly, just for you.
Keeping the streak alive of streams I've mentioned his name on. I think I am at the forefront of the Marco Stunt returning fan club.
Maybe Marco Stunt finally pulls Kill Switch away from
somewhere,
and makes
right?
Luchasaurus again.
Somewhere in Canada, Lawrence and JPJ are seething with rage because we're talking this in depth about Marco Stunt showing back up in aid.
So Jeff Jarrett comes out, and who's the wild card? Surprise, surprise! It's the guy that they showed a damn video package of last week, Hangman Adam Page, with new music.
Are they just going to rename the wild card the Hangman Page card? Because every wild card is Hangman Page, it feels like.
He was. So that is right. I forgot. He was a wild card in one of the Casino Battle Royal matches.
Yeah.
Too, and won that.
No. Comes back with
interesting.
Different look. He kept giving me Johnny AEW, Johnny TV vibes.
Really?
a little bit. I kept like some of the angles. I was like, are they related? Is that John Morrison's brother? But no, he comes back, new music, new look, new vibe. Killer.
Yeah.
Looks like a killer out there.
Less cowboy and more like
mercenary.
Terminator.
Yeah, there you go.
Yeah, so I really liked it. He was rocking like a bigger stash with a thin beard, but now it's all the same, and his hair looked a little bit different too. I don't know if he like colored it a little, or maybe it was just wet, and it could have been just because it was wet. And Hangman is the wild card, which everybody who is normal and should obviously follow the storyline should know that it was going to be Hangman Adam Page.
Right.
And
or Hanger as the Bucks call him, Hanger.
And we didn't see like a full-on squash match. Jeff Jarrett did hold his own, and it was a good match. I really enjoyed the match. And of course, what surprised people for some reason is that Jeff Jarrett did not win.
Yeah.
What was your thoughts on that?
I am not a Jeff Jarrett fan at all.
Yeah, I know. That's why I want to know what your because he had that really awesome promo, and I want to know what your thoughts are on all this. Go ahead.
So when they put him in the Owen, I also am not some wrestling historian that knows all of the lore, right? I do the best that I can and know what I know, but I didn't realize how in touch with Jeff and Owen and how close they were friendship-wise, yada, yada, yada. So when they told that initial video package, it sold me a ticket. I was like, Jeff Jarrett, what kind of guy would I be if I was like, I'm not going to root for Jeff Jarrett in this spot, right?
Right,
like,
yeah.
It makes sense. They sold me a ticket. I'm not a huge piece of shit. So they did a great job of making me feel bad for Jeff Jarrett as a not Jeff Jarrett fan. So like they did the job. It made it look good, but I didn't think he was winning, especially Hangman comes out and it's just like the way the match went. Like I I know there were people saying he should have won the Owen. He should have won the Owen. I don't. The stories now. I think the story was the Bucks were bringing in their wild card to destroy Jeff Jarrett, get that heat, and that way they could get themselves to the. Because obviously, what happened after the match with the Bucks and Hangman backstage, where they're like, "Hanger, you're back," and he's like, "My sole focus is Swerve. I'm here to get Swerve. I'm here to get the title. I don't want to play these games." But the Bucks are thinking in their mind, "We're going to get him back. We're going to get the world title in the Elite, by putting him in the Owen, and then we have Hangman on our side for blood and guts too."
Right.
So I didn't think Jeff was winning it. That wasn't going to be my pick, regardless, because I just didn't. I can't see a world where it's Jeff Jarrett at Wembley versus Swerve for the AEW World Championship. But they sold me. They did a great job. And I felt bad for Jeff Jarrett last night for the first time in my Jeff Jarrett watching history. I was like, "Damn, that sucked."
Yeah. So they So what Scott just said, his last comment, that weird he's a heel that's going through other heels to get to the babyface champion. The beauty about AEW is that they do face, heel, especially in tournaments where you don't know which one is going to, I mean, obviously we knew Hangman was going to win, but in some cases, you don't know who's going to win. Statlander and Nightingale, either one of them could have won.
Yeah.
The main event, I thought who was going to win didn't end up winning, but he could have won. It's really awesome that they have a bunch of matches, sometimes with same class types, heel, babyface. I said that because of like WWE 2K24. Like I watch. I love.
Like sometimes it's city specific. Like MJF is over in Long Island, right? He's a face that no matter what he's doing, and then outside of there, he's a piece of shit. So yeah.
So it really, I think it works, and it doesn't paint them into a corner where we've got the clear babyface and we've got the clear heel, and it's got to go this way because of that and whatever. Two heels can have a match. I mean, he's going to have a match now with another heel, Jay White, and it's fine. It doesn't bother me that they're two heels fighting.
And it's not like Danielson doesn't teeter on the side of heel too with the BBC at times either. So it's all whatever the story needs to be told. They figure out a great way. Hangman winning was the right call, in my opinion. I know that there was just those people, but that's how good it was. If you have all those people saying, "We wanted Jeff Jarrett to make a run, we wanted Jeff Jarrett to get this win," that's just how well done the story was told, that you convinced all of the people watching that Jeff Jarrett had a legit shot, and we were disappointed when he didn't win.
Yeah,
that's great. That's what you
the
want.
Funny thing is, so like Scott said, Jeff Jarrett was a heel in the company. However, they super babyfaced him in a week's time, to where someone like you went, "Oh, you know what?
I feel bad for that guy.
I feel bad for this guy." And nobody felt bad for Jeff Jarrett before last week.
No.
So
no, not at all.
it did its job.
Yeah.
The heel came back, the big returning heel came back to a freshly babyfaced Jeff Jarrett. And in the match where Jeff Jarrett, people wanted Jeff Jarrett to win, and he didn't win because the heel won.
Yeah.
And it got him all the sympathy.
Yes, between two firm beards. Your new that's right.
That is an R-rated show if I've ever heard one.
I am incredibly firm right now. I just wanted to make sure I was plenty firm for this.
I'm not even wearing pants.
Ooh.
But it bothers me when there's the obvious story there and people just go, "Yeah, but Jeff Jarrett, but Owen Hart, but it's like, can we just appreciate the story being told instead of trying to make it about what you want instead? This is my problem with wrestling
No.
fans.
I was gonna
I
say
understand,
no.
it's my problem with wrestling fans these days, modern ones in particular, that it's I want it right now and I want it my way. And that's a problem because that puts the bookers of these companies, Tony Khan, Triple H, Shawn Michaels, whomever in any company, it puts them in a tough spot because they're booking a great story, but people are like, yeah, but Hangman, all right, he comes back. Oh, but he could have come back in a different way for Swerve. No, this was telling a really clear story. Jeff Jarrett is on the outs right now. He's down and out. I hope that they turn him into a babyface because
I would like to see him go, I want Hangman one more time. I wasn't ready. This time I'm ready. We do it. We run it back. You know what I mean?
they could do that. They could clearly do that.
Yeah, and everything you're saying is right because, like, if you watch it just until the match ends, it was all the Bucks. This is their move. This was their decision. This is what they were trying to do to get their person into the Owen finals, right?
Right.
That's what they were doing. A Hangman, obviously, 5 minutes later was like, I want nothing to do with you fools. I'm going to do my own thing. So it blew up in their face. But in the moment, you're thinking, oh shit, the Bucks, Hangman's back. He's a heel. They're going to take, I'm thinking, oh shoot, now the Bucks are going to have their hands all over the Owen and get their guy into the finals.
Right.
So, yeah, you got to appreciate it in that exact moment. Now we know, obviously, that wasn't the case, but yeah, Jeff Jarrett winning the Owen. Come on, people.
I know. And listen, like, similar to you, I wasn't aware of the full history between Owen and Jeff. But this is the first time this is the third Owen tournament.
Yeah.
The third year of doing this. And Jeff wasn't in the first two. And he was in the company at least last year. I don't know if he was in the company for the first one, but I know he was in the company for the second one. And nobody said anything last year about why isn't Jeff Jarrett in the tournament?
Yeah.
Now all of a sudden he's in the tournament. It's like, oh, Jeff Jarrett's got to win the tournament.
Well, again, it's because they told a great story. I'm okay with that. Like, I'm okay in my wrestling.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
If you can convince me that I'm wrong, I'm all right with changing my opinions too. Like, if you can tell me on TV that this guy deserves to be here and here's why, and then I go, that was really good, I'm in, then I'm good with it. But you're right. Like, it was like a pipe dream that we all kind of got attached to in the sense of it. And it just wasn't the story that they were trying to tell. They took a different path with it. But hopefully, like I've always said with things like this, they build off of it. Like don't just do all this stuff with Jeff and then completely abandon it. I'd like to see him show up on Collision or something and say, hey, Wednesday night, I want a rematch. That way I'm prepared, because the whole other buildup was, Jeff, how are you preparing for somebody you don't know who's coming out, right?
Yeah.
And he could even spin it to be like, yeah, I know it's not for the Owen. I lost my chance, but now I just want to do it for me and just do it for Owen. And he'll probably lose again, but at least, yeah. So, it is what it is, man. People need to calm down. It's all good. It's a great story. But okay, look at this. We got Mike saying, I'm sorry, but Jeff winning the Owen and main eventing Wembley sounds unsustainable until the end of August. And that's kind of my point. Like, when you look at it optically, you have to go 2 months now into the end of August and keep Jeff Jarrett going. Now, granted, he'd get another win over Jay White. Then he'd have a match with Danielson. So there's a couple more weeks there. But then do you really buy into him taking down Swerve at Wembley? Like, that's where I'm like, I don't know about all that.
Right. Yeah. But it's never going to happen that way. But people believed in their minds that was what was going to happen because it was what they wanted, and therefore Hangman being the wild card was a bad decision in their minds. So to that I say you're a moron. Anyway, now
And then what's
we
going
get
to
to
say? I
the main
watched the
event.
whole time period in the mid '90s. Yeah, I missed all that. I mean, I watched in the mid '90s, but I was young, and I watched WCW more than I watched WWE.
I was a WWF kid, but not even because I was a wrestling fan. It was because somebody else that I knew was a wrestling fan. So I
Yeah.
wasn't even I wasn't even absorbing it as a wrestling fan. I was just absorbing it as it's something that's on TV, and I kind of like some of the characters. That's all.
And then Mike's making an excellent point. Like, you can't buy him into Jay White or Danielson, Jarrett beat Danielson or Jay White. I agree. Like, that's the thing. Had they put Jeff Jarrett in the Owen, now granted, they stacked these Owens this year. Like, I could be convinced outside of Jeff, most of the people you could convince me could win it. If they wanted to give Jeff a feel-good first-round win, where they go, oh, he got a first-round win, oh, shoot, like that is something. But, yeah, like you said, the heavy hitters in this thing, what has Jeff Jarrett done in AEW that makes you think world championship? So it was a good story. It was well done. It did its job. It got people talking about wanting Jeff Jarrett to win the thing, which I think is a good thing, which I think adds to the whole Hangman heel persona too. Boom. I think it was perfect.
Right. So now we come to the main event. So the show started with Renee Paquette backstage with Daniel Garcia and Matt Menard.
Daddy Magic.
Yes. Who I'm going to talk about him a little bit also. Garcia said he's no stranger to pressure, but this is the most important night of his life. And he respects Will Ospreay, but he promised himself that he is not losing this match.
Not only that, he promises he puts it on his mama.
That's right. He did say on his
mama.
Yeah,
I put it on my mom's. I ain't losing. I ain't leaving without that title, which I was like, damn. Which fun fact, then Puff the wrestler, friends of Data Garcia, also native Buffalo Boy, tweeted out like, he put that shit on his mama. He ain't losing tonight. So like, it was, people were getting behind it, man. I know JPJ was huge about Garcia getting this win last night. So
was I. I thought he was winning, and based off of what had happened at Forbidden Door, and something else that happened on the show, I was like, oh, this might be Will Ospreay's second loss in AEW in a row.
Yeah.
So Maxwell Jacob Friedman enters the chat, and he rolls up to give pep talk to Mr. Daniel Garcia, and he said, I know we talked about being in All In and stuff, but we hold off on that. We'll hold off on that. You focus on this match tonight first. That's the most important thing. And he said he would like to be in Daniel Garcia's corner, and immediately I went, oh shit, what's going on? There's got to be a reason why he's going to be doing this. So Daniel accepts, and he walks off, and Matt Menard is just like, you've done some good by Danny. You're good with me.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, okay, so that was cool. Later on in the show,
but even him saying that, if I may stop you, felt like he said it, but even with like a bit of like, you're still MJF, which I didn't catch when I watched the first time, because I was like, oh shit, Daddy Magic's giving a stamp of approval. Is he really gonna? And then like, obviously, but like there was even a little hesitant, like, you're still MJF, but you've been doing right by my guys, so I'm good. Because that handshake was a little tension filled, but I liked it. Yeah,
it was really good, and I didn't catch that at first too. It was like, oh, okay.
You could just kind of tell because the history that they had, the little like, just like, okay, all right. But yeah, he said he had that too. He thought the Callis family was costing Billy Goat the title. I did too with the Callis stuff. Yep.
And speaking of Callis, later on in the show, Renee is backstage with Will Ospreay, and Don Callis and Kyle Fletcher roll up on him, And Will asks Renee to. Look who's in the chat. Hello,
Oh.
Mrs. Pluggo.
Mrs. Pluggo, the apple of my eye, the love of my life. This is not our normal beard show, but hi, honey. She's at work right now.
I'm thankful for you to grace us with your presence today, Mrs.
She's
Pluggo.
she's the superstar. See, look, hello, Scott saying hello, Mrs. Pluggo. We could be getting Will Ospreay versus MJF at all, and I think that's the move. But yeah, the Callis and Ospreay stuff was good. He wanted out of the family. Fletcher was surprised. The shade, and he did it such a nice way. But then you know, Callis is like, "Well, then you're going to owe me a favor."
Yeah, and they give the hug where they
show give the hug, and
Callis already has the wheels going in his head, and I'm like, shit. They're costing him tonight.
Be honest though, that was not the way I thought that Ospreay would leave the Don Callis family. I thought it would have been a little bit more of a rough split. But then again, I looked at it and I was like, no, that kind of makes sense. But you know, and then with Callis, he's got some things brewing, so be ready.
He's very calculated in his moves. So he's obviously planning something, as you could see from that promo. You know, hit that hug, and they're showing his face, and you can already see the wheels turning in his mind. And Kyle Fletcher is off to the side, just like, he knows. So, like, in my head, I'm going, Kyle knows that either he or Takeshita are going to be asked to screw.
Yep, are going to have to take care of that. I don't know how to respond in the chat. She says hi to all the friends. Hi. They say hi back. I think it has to be Fletcher if that's the case, because just the history there, the tag team scenario, they came up, you know, they worked a lot together overseas. Right. Yeah, like I think it's got to be Fletcher. If Takeshita wasn't in the G1 right now, it might have happened. Yeah, that's true. I forgot.
That's a good point. That is a good point. So that happens. Then we get to the main event. And the main event, Daniel Garcia, Will Ospreay for not the World Championship, but the International Championship. And man, did Will Ospreay make Daniel Garcia look like a friggin' star in this match.
Mm-hmm.
Not that he needed it necessarily, but
right.
It already just elevated him to. I mean, he hasn't had a main event in AEW in a while. Daniel Garcia. And this was just like this is the spot that he shines in, honestly. He is so damn good.
Yeah, it's almost like, you know, when they talk about, you know, players rising to the big game occasion, like when you put him in a big time spot, he like hits another gear, and just like him and Ospreay had a great chemistry. The back and forth was well done. The match was the MJF outside, you know, with the facial expressions for each near fall and thing it was just well told, and it made Daniel Garcia look like an absolute $1 million.
Yeah.
And then of course MJF tosses him that ring.
That's right.
And he doesn't take it the first time.
And it is like, oh, now I saw people saying, this doesn't make sense with Daniel Garcia's character. He wouldn't think of cheating.
Right.
Are you out of your mind?
Yeah.
Anyone in their right mind for their first big time world championship. I mean, okay, it's not the world championship match, but it's damn near close to it. For the first time, really, like, this is like the biggest match of my life, and somebody's just given me the opportunity to pretty much put that title in my lap.
Yeah.
I'm going to think about it for a second.
Yeah. One of the best wrestlers on the planet. Because up to that point, again, the people that are paying attention, up to that point, Daniel Garcia's tried everything he can to pass the away and can't get it done.
Right.
So what do you do in a moment of desperation? You look at this and go, do I take this route? And of course, everybody's booing the idea of it because Danny's the face and they love Daniel Garcia. And he gives it back to MJF and he says, I'm done, not doing that. And then they keep wrestling. But then he does it again.
Right. Yeah. It's like, if I'm in that position, I'm gonna be like, oh, you know what? This has been a rough match. We're at like 14, 15 minutes in. I've been giving it my all. I haven't gotten the job done yet, but this will get the job done. Do I do it? Do I not do it? It's like I completely understand Daniel Garcia doing something like that because it's just a human thing. It's like, you know what? Because I think the biggest problem with how WWE presented baby faces for such a long time is that it kind of made them look stupid. There's the classic stupid babyface syndrome.
Like, oh, Randy, I'm up here.
Yeah, and I'm fine with baby faces taking cheap shots because it's only a human reaction. Like, you know what? This ring, yeah, I've been doing it. I've been doing it the right way. I've been doing it the honorable way. But this ring, this pretty much solidifies it for me. Do I want to do it that way?
Yeah. Plus, you're getting it from MJF, who's been to the top of the mountain, who's been the face of the company. So it's also like in that scenario, Daniel Garcia is the clear third best wrestler in the scenario from a overall standpoint. If you want to get down to technical wrestling, Daniel Garcia is absolutely fantastic. But I just mean in the stature. And it's like this one ring, and then I can have this title. I can get it done. It changes everything, puts me on the map. Yeah, it's just you think about it. You absolutely think about it. Yeah. Like if you drop $10,000 in front of me today, that you found on the side of the road, I'm thinking about like, oh, maybe I'll pick that up. You know what I mean? Like it was torn in the moment. It cost him the match overall at the end there. He's crying off the time. He still gets the stamp of approval from Ospreay. He's broken up about it.
That was something that I hadn't thought of until later on when I saw the images side by side. It was like midnight, and somebody put the images side by side in a tweet. That was the exact same thing that Swerve did to Ospreay at Forbidden Door.
Yep. She also had MJF standing off to the side of the Daniel Garcia Ospreay one, which was like he would look pissed off. So I don't know why I didn't catch it there. He just looked disappointed that Danny didn't listen to him because this whole thing has been Ospreay upshowing MJF, giving Daniel Garcia the spot and MJF offered him something else. It was like if you're watching the nuance to it, you're paying close attention to all of the manual, like everything was. He's broken up. He's a human being. He realizes maybe I should have took that ring. I had 2 chances to do it. I didn't do it. It cost me the championship. I couldn't get it done. Maybe I shouldn't have been messing around with MJF and just paying attention to Ospreay. Like awesome stuff.
Yeah. Your internet has shit the bed for like a good 5 minutes now, and it just hasn't returned. It's very strange.
What do you mean? Do I look?
You're on my end. You're very blurry, and you've been like kind of cutting in and out a little bit, but not to a point where you're not understandable. But okay, just got funny. I just mentioned it now. It just got better.
I was gonna say everything looks good on my end, man. Yeah. Like, sorry, I should have said something. I would have.
No, because I could still hear you. Like you were still understandable, but it was just like you kind of sounded like a robot a little bit at times, and you were totally blurry for me.
That's
so I don't know.
Super weird.
But I could understand you
because they are, yeah. Well, now I feel bad. I'll have to watch back because everything looks great on my end right now.
Now it's totally fine.
That's interesting. Well, like I was gonna say, it's like they already did a crazy overrun for this match, right? It's like 10-10. So when this match ends, I thought that would be the shot. Ospreay consoling Garcia, MJF kind of looking over the shoulder. We'll see you next week. Not the case.
No, so
not at all.
So
the opposite of that happened.
Ospreay dips. He's gone. MJF gets in there. He's like, "You tried. It wasn't your fault. It was my fault." He takes the blame for him losing. And then he grabs him. I think he raised his arm even, and then he does this. And I saw it. I saw it because I said, "Oh my God, this is the same exact thing he did with Adam Cole."
Mm-hmm.
He takes both of his hands, one on each shoulder of Daniel Garcia's, and then kicks him in the nuts.
Oh, field goal. Just
That's
upright.
exactly what he did to Adam Cole.
Which you
And-
could have ended it there. And I'd have been like, okay.
Yeah, and then that's when it was some cheers, but there were boos as well. And he kicks him in the nuts, and then he starts attacking him, and then here comes Matt Menard, and he knocks Matt Menard out with that ring, and there's this shot like a minute or so later of Matt Menard's eyes. Just like his forehead is covered in blood. It looks like a horror movie. The way that his eyes looked with the blood. It was just blood. You couldn't even see his eyes. It was insane, the shot. And then he's spitting at Daniel Garcia, kicking him.
He's Hawk
He
on that
grabs
thing.
his throat
Yeah.
and just like choking him as he's bloodied.
One of the most brutal attacks we've seen. Like, because he cut him open, he's bleeding all over the place, just kept ragdolling Garcia, man.
Oh my God.
Insane.
It was brutal. It was
I was pissed at Christopher Daniels when he came out to try to break it up after the pile driver off of the second rope. He pile drives Garcia on the second rope. Everybody comes out, officials, referees, try to split it up. You're a wrestler, Christopher Daniels. You're a damn good wrestler, and you sat there and were like, I don't know how to stop MJF.
Yes, like,
Put him in a hold, bro. You're afraid to get blood on your suit? What are you doing? You're not my EVP, Christopher Daniels. Right there shows me that you're just not a good EVP, buddy. You should be let go of your duties for not stepping in there. But then anyway, then he just keeps beating on him. They just let him beat on Daniel Garcia.
Yeah,
Ospreay got out there.
2 minutes.
Yeah, and then
Ospreay finally comes out.
Yep.
And he's limping, he limps down the thing. And then that's when MJF, bloodied, tank top and all, just gets out of the ring, goes through the crowd. And then MJF gets into it with some fans.
Yeah.
He's like shoved a fan. He threw trash at another one, yelling at him. And they're like their faces are almost like touching, like yelling at each other.
Oh, yeah.
And then, so it was like, well, the evil bastard MJF is back.
And I couldn't be happier. Like, don't get me wrong. I love MJF in all of his forms, but there's always something about babyface MJF that I'm just not vibing with because I'm always thinking like, you're going to do this shit to somebody really quick. So him just being back and being just nasty as ever, I'm here for that. I'm so here for it. Poor Daniel Garcia though.
Yeah, it was.
God saying, I just don't like the step back storyline with MJF not trusting anyone again. It's like taking 3 years of step back storyline. Yeah, I can understand that. I would say that, like,
I don't know what does he mean to step back and story.
Like this is the classic step back to MJF doesn't trust you. He's gonna, you know what I mean? He's gonna turn on you. It's a wash, rinse, repeat. I think is what Scott's getting at.
Well, I think it was that.
But I also think it's because Daniel Garcia just didn't listen to him.
I don't think it was that. I don't think it was that he didn't listen to him. I think it's just that MJF's a piece of shit. And I think that he always intended to come back and be like this. But he needed to get. See, this is the thing too about like babyface heel style thing. When MJF returned and he took out Adam Cole, that wasn't MJF being a babyface. That was MJF taking out a guy that he didn't like.
Yeah.
He just happened to be a heel. That didn't make MJF a babyface. But everybody, like, when he like shed the scarf and the suit thing and he came out in the Triple H 2002, like it was like a rebirth of MJF in a sense. And people are like, oh, well, now I saw this stupid thing of like, oh, well, how is Adam Cole and MJF? Now they're both heels and blah, blah, blah. Guys, you got to understand something. When MJF came out and returned and kicked Adam Cole in the nuts and spit on the devil mask and threw it out into the crowd and stomped on it and everything, that was it.
He's done with it.
They're not feuding. It's over.
Yeah. Plus, MJF also operates on a whole different level of like, you always kind of have to be on high alert for which side he's going to err on. But with this one particular, so like with Adam Cole, it was he trusted Adam Cole. He let him into his life. It fell apart. And he's like, how can I trust anybody? With Garcia, it felt a lot like, I'm trying to show you the way, kid. Here's your opportunity. I'm going to be in your corner. You're going to win. Listen to me, and all of your dreams will come true type deal.
I never got that.
I just maybe I'm overthinking it, because it's like, and then you just didn't listen. He didn't listen. And then Ospreay kept overshadowing him too. So maybe that beating for Garcia was more of a message to Ospreay. There's a lot of layers to MJF to this, but yeah, he is a piece of shit at the end of the day. I think that's all it really comes down to.
Yeah, he saw Will Ospreay and Daniel Garcia in that moment when Garcia was crying and and Will was consoling him, and he's like, "Fuck these two."
And he's also like, "I've been here at your corner this whole time. Yeah, like I've been on your." Trying to help you out, and here you are.
Honestly, I can see why you think that. So I'm not saying that you're wrong.
You can say,
but I didn't.
You can say it. I don't care.
I know, because I don't. The beautiful thing about wrestling, you are never going to get me to be a tribalist about anything in wrestling, like a lot of other stupid, moronic people on the internet. I am totally fine with you seeing it that way. And I will not chastise you for it. I will not criticize you for it, because wrestling is subjective.
That's my biggest,
And that was what you and Scott got out of it. And that's totally fine. I didn't see that way at all. I saw it as MJF, and I hadn't really mentioned it on Firmly AW in the past.
Ospreay did upstage him last week, which that's why Garcia's in this match, because MJF offered Daniel Garcia the spot at All In. He goes, "Me and you, All In, let's do it." Then Ospreay comes out and offers him a double championship match, because Ospreay at that point thought he was winning the world title for Dynamite. So MJF is seething about Ospreay upstaging him. Then he's mad that Garcia didn't listen to him. And then he's mad that Ospreay wins, because he's still pissed at Ospreay for upstaging him. He wanted him to lose. So he took his frustrations out on Daniel Garcia.
Which is why he gave him the ring. This way. But he didn't give him the ring. And see, this is the other thing too. He didn't give him the ring to help Daniel Garcia. He gave him the ring to help MJF.
Yeah, and that's a great point, because if you think about it, from MJF's standpoint, who's easier to beat at Wembley? Daniel Garcia or Ospreay?
Number one, who's easier to beat? Number two, the easier person to beat is now going to be a champion. And I'm going to get that championship.
And hey, remember, buddy, when I offered you that All-In spot last week? Exactly. You're champion now. Oh, yeah, it was all part of MJF's sick, demented plan, for sure. So it all made perfect sense to me, and I was mad last night, to be honest, that I didn't have a reaction show to go on to talk about it, because I was so fired up last night. It was such a great episode of Dynamite.
Yeah, they do the stretcher spot. They show it the whole thing, him getting stretchered out and everything, and everyone was like, so the watch along I was on, they were like, oh, that means Is Daniel Garcia gone from the company? Because that's how Ricochet left the company, was on the stretcher. But I was like, I don't see this as him leaving the company, because I don't think that they would dedicate this much time at the end of a show that it would be getting like a damn near 12-minute overrun to a guy who's leaving the company.
Yeah, give him that kind of a match. They would just write him off and stuff. Plus, I saw the reports. It looks like his deal's up in the fall, and he has every intention of resigning. And normally, I'm like, go get your bag, do what you. I think Daniel Garcia and AEW is a perfect fit.
Yeah, I do.
I don't know if he. I mean, he can thrive anywhere. He's Daniel Garcia. He's fantastic. So if like NXT came a calling, I wouldn't be upset about it. But there's something about him in this spot in AEW that just makes a lot of sense. Yeah, so I hope that they re-sign him. I hope that they continue to push him. He got over in this company. He's done everything they've asked him to do. He's killing it. So
yeah, Daniel honestly has been I would say, they were the original pillars of the company of Jack Perry,
Mhm.
Sammy Guevara, MJF, and Darby. But I think if you were to do like a second layer,
Yeah, the next that he'd be on
like the
that,
next one, he would absolutely be
like
there.
him and
Will
Yuta and
Ospreay,
Osprey.
him, maybe Yuta, and I would have said Ricky Starks, but it doesn't seem like that's the case anymore.
Yeah.
But yeah, like I really, really, really loved the end of the show. It was like selling Daniel Garcia as a megastar, honestly, and MJF being the big piece of shit that he is, that he always goes back to being. What is this? Bobby says, "Do you guys see Daniel Garcia helping MJF to win against Will Ospreay at 8?" No,
Not after last night. Unless
Not after last night.
unless some things change, right? Unless by some miracle MJF beat Daniel Garcia into thinking that he needs to help MJF, but I don't see that happening. But MJF versus Osprey at All In for the international championship seems like a good move.
Yeah, and all of this Daniel Garcia stuff with MJF was just goading Daniel Garcia into getting the title so that this way MJF could win the title from him.
Yeah.
That was all this was. There was no, oh, I'm so mad at him for not listening to me. It was...
Maybe he's a little mad because he would have got the title.
Well, but
I'm just messing with you. I'm messing with you, Drew. It wasn't the skull.
No, but I don't disagree with that. I don't. It's. He's mad at him for not listening to him, but he's not mad at him for not listening to him only.
Right.
He's mad at him for not listening because that's what would have gotten him the title.
The easier path, yeah, for sure.
Right. Because now he's going to face Will Ospreay instead of facing Daniel Garcia. That's why he's actually mad. It's not like the Don Callis thing, or you should do that thing that I told you to do, and I'm mad about it. It's totally opposite of that. So, yeah, definitely Daniel Garcia isn't going to help MJF. If anything, Daniel Garcia is going to cost MJF.
Sure.
So I'm expecting probably Danny will be out for a couple weeks, maybe until the next pay-per-view.
Yeah.
Which is actually All In, funny enough. Because the next event, like a bigger event, is Blood and Guts at the end of the month. Then there's All In at the end of August. So we have a bit of time now until the next pay-per-view. Probably by Blood and Guts, or maybe the week after Blood and Guts, Danny will be back.
Yeah. We got MJF in action on Collision, so maybe we'll see Ospreay there.
Right, MJF is going to be on Collision. Mm-hmm. So, the last thing, did you see the absolutely incredible promo that Matt Menard cut on Twitter? The video that they put out?
No, I did not.
Oh my God!
I'll have to check it out. Is it up there with the one from Blood and Guts?
Oh, it's better.
Ooh, okay. I'll have to check it out.
It's better only because he is. If you have to say, like, okay, give me like top 5 talkers in wrestling right now, he's one of them.
Oh yeah.
And the thing is that you don't get to see it very often you don't get to see it very often on TV because he doesn't really talk that much in promos on TV. He does like commentary.
Yeah. They don't have him in a lot of matches and things where he can get some. But when he gets a cooking, man, it's always good.
Yeah, I'm gonna DM it to you right now, the video, because it's just absolutely insane. He's bloodied and he's just so angry and sad for Danny and Danny's family. He mentioned Danny's mom, calling his mom because he's so sorry that she had to watch that, and just it's one of the best. If you haven't seen it, you need to go and watch it because I think his best performance ever, honestly.
Oh,
Just a 2-minute video of him screaming in a way that his voice is so high you can barely understand what he's saying. And you can just see it on his face, how angry he is. It's so amazing. Really, you have to go and watch it.
I'll check it out after this.
And that's it. That was the show last night.
No, that was the show last night. Forbidden Door was good. Dynamite was good. I think they're really hit some strides. I thought last week's Dynamite was solid. It didn't get the ratings that everybody had hoped, but I really think they're layering in a lot of cool stuff, and they're building some really fun foundational things for these stories that maybe we used to complain was like, oh, it was just a cool match without a lot of build. I think they're really building some stuff. I'm super excited for the summer.
Scott, who's a non-factor? Who are you saying?
He's in a non-factor. I'm assuming he meant to say, oh, he's a non-factor Stan Rampage. He's saying that about Matt Menard. He is in sense, yeah, he is a non-factor because they don't have anything.
He's a non-factor only because they've kind of put him in that bubble. They put him in that where he's just the commentary guy on Rampage.
Yeah, but we're saying when he gets
so much more.
Yeah, when he gets a chance to cook, he cooks a little bit. But yeah, man, it was a good week. I think the summer of AEW is going to be a big one. I think that they're doing a lot of good things and going in the right direction, and they're getting integral pieces back. Hangman's back, Britt Baker's back. Who am I thinking about? There's one more that's we're waiting on, right? Who's the other big name? Jamie Hayter. I almost forgot. Jamie Hayter's got to be on her way back, right? These are integral pieces that when you have them on your weekly programming definitely helps. So it says with MJF turning heel, doesn't it just kind of make the whole Undisputed group irrelevant? Sure. But let me be honest with you. The Undisputed Kingdom group hasn't been super relevant to me anyway.
They haven't been that relevant. And it really,
because without Cole, it doesn't work.
It was born out of the Devil storyline, which everybody kind of didn't like anymore towards the end of it. So, MJF turning heel doesn't make them irrelevant because MJF and them are not feuding anymore. Yeah, they are total separate entities now, and that was that, like I mentioned before. When he came back and he kicked Adam Cole in the nuts and stomped on the devil mask and spit on it and threw it in the crowd, this is done. We are not going back to this anymore. It's over.
Right.
So since that moment, Adam Cole and the Undisputed Kingdom and MJF have been parted, and they're not intertwined anymore. There isn't going to be a big feud. There isn't going to be a big match. That's it. It's done. So whatever the Undisputed Kingdom is doing is their own thing, and whatever MJF is doing is his own thing.
Yeah, so Bobby's saying Sammy Guevara coming back. Yep. And then, we got Tom Talks Rubbish in the house saying, what's up, my guys? Pluggo's pod's dropping soon. Would love to have Drew back on. Get Drew back on. And Roundtable Network saying, I think Dynamite last night put quite a few things in place for AEW going forward and created a nice little road to all in. Yeah. I think that's a great bow at the end of the day. It's like it was a good couple of weeks that really they got a lot of good things going. They just got to keep the foot on the gas and keep going down those paths, and then it's going to be an epic all in. It's going to be a good summer, heading into hopefully a brand new TV deal that's good for them.
Pluggo, where can the people find you?
Where can they find me? Well, you can find me at Pluggo_ on Twitter, at Pluggo everywhere else on social medias. You can find me Thursday night. Tonight, actually, it is pre-recorded, but JPJ, because he's in Toronto, you saw him driving with Zach. And since it's the 4th of July here in the States, I just didn't know if I could wrangle a co-host, and 2, I kind of want to do some things with the family, fireworks and fun. I don't want to be sitting down in the basement during all the festivities. So we pre-recorded our Money in the Bank preview for Saturday. We did a 4th of July cookout foods tier list, which is really good. JPJ always kills those tier lists. So go check that out. It'll go at 8 o'clock as normal. And then if you need any updates on what we got going on as a show, B2Beards on all social medias. This Sunday morning, I will be with Blair Pacheco for Exposure, talking independent wrestling. We're going to preview IWS's Scarred for Life. That card looks to be absolutely bonkers. And yeah, that's where you can find me. What about you, Drew?
Well, I can be found at the Drew Nicholas on Twitter. I am on the Roundtable Network as well. That was the watch along that I was on last night, and we do those shows on Monday. After every big show, after Raw, after SmackDown, after Dynamite, and we have our trivias every Wednesday night as well. Trivias are really fun, really fun. You got to come to those. Those are good. One of our esteemed members creates a 25 question trivia and of just random wrestling stuff. It's really fun. So come and join us for that every Wednesday night after Dynamite. And of course, I collect the super chats and humper chats for Fightful's AEW Collision post show every Saturday night with Rick Cresta and Iridian, or a combination of the three. Sometimes it's not all three. Sometimes it's two. Sometimes it's another one and somebody else. It's always and Friday nights also after SmackDown is really awful wrestling that we do on the Roundtable Network. We just watch some bad wrestling and laugh at it. Sometimes death matches. Oh, some of them are really good. And then of course I'm here every Sunday morning. Oh, you can follow Firmly AEW on Twitter as well at Firmly AEW. And I'm here usually with JPJ, but this week I want to thank Pluggo very much for filling in. It was a wonderful show. I love doing this with you.
Oh, thank you. I'm glad you guys had me. Like when he said he was out Thursday, I was like, I'm off, and it's Thursday morning. I got nothing going on in the morning, so I'm glad you guys had me on.
Yes. So very much thankful for you today for coming on with me and doing this. I had a great time. And until next time, peace out.